Mark Bell's Power Project. Now, I like Mark because I find him to be very objective, very reasonable, and that makes him fair. When he makes a statement, he does come at it fair, even if he has an opinion. He doesn't give his opinion. He stronger gives the evidence and allows you to form an opinion. It's a real skill, and I got to tell you, he does a good job with it. So I'm watching Mark Bell's show, and he's discussing me and the comments that I made about Andrew Huberman. Now, Bell's got a couple of guys on the show with him. They weigh in on it, but from the perspective of they were laughing at the comments that I made. Now, you got to understand, the comments I made is quoting Huberman. So as they're laughing at the comments that they heard me make, right, they're playing my clip. They're Huberman's words, but it gets a little bit confusing of who they're laughing at. Not for nothing, it felt a little bit like they were laughing at me. So Huberman came out, and I got all sorts of problems with this. I got a problem with the PhD in this. I got a problem with him claiming he's got a lab. I mean, only because I understand it. You want to know what I have that none of you have? But really, you want to know what I have that none of you have? Not only do none of you have it, you don't know someone that has it. Like, you couldn't go, yeah, I don't have one, but my cousin does. You're going to go, I don't have one, but actually my neighbor down the road was saying that his bus driver's kid. No, you don't. What I have is a studio. I'm in it right now. I've got satellites. I can get a tennis match in Morocco right now. I got screens behind me. I got a team. I've got audio. I even got my little medallion right here. Okay, great. I got a studio. Okay, great. Do you want to know what else that means aside from all the technology that I just bragged you I got? Because I went to Best Buy and picked all of that up in about 25 minutes, and then it was a matter of assembling it in about 3 hours. But I'm not for nothing. When you hear the word studio, it did impress you, didn't it? And you did go, yeah, Chael, you do have one, and I don't. And I don't know anyone that has it. Okay, great. But lab is the same way, right? Huberman's out here dropping, he's got a lab. What does that mean? What does that mean? You've got a room and you named it a lab, but I'm bringing this to your attention. There's not like some certain criteria that you have to have a lab. So when he's dropping, I got this lab and I'm on Stanford. It's one of these things, and I must tell you, it's irritating to me. Here, I'll give you some words that you've never heard. You've never heard anybody speak these words. Are you ready for them? My favorite scientist is. You've never heard anybody say that. But I have a favorite scientist. So when I think of my favorite scientist, okay, the genius Jacques Vallée, by the way, if you want to know, written a number of books. He's testified in front of Senate subcommittees, both when it was House Republicans, both when it was led by Democrats. They brought him in. He was the foremost expert. But in all of his studies and all of the books that he's written, his final analysis is that logic will trump science almost, and I'm quoting, every time. That if you just use logic, he's the one, I told you guys this story before. In Area 52, people are attempting to say that there is a city the size of Manhattan underground. And it's being ran, and this is where the aliens are, and this is where the whole hub is. And a guy that worked at the Pentagon is backing this up. And a guy whose uncle died, but on his deathbed, he worked for the CIA, on his deathbed, he revealed, yes, in fact, a city the size of Manhattan is underground. And Jacques Vallée, while these people are saying this, they're dropping CIA and they're dropping Pentagon, he simply says to them, who takes out the garbage? They're going around a table of the most sophisticated people. They're writing scripts. They've written books that are now published. They're proving their point. But the genius Jacques Vallée said, who takes out the garbage? And they stopped. And they said, what? Well, if you have a city the size of Manhattan, certainly there'd be a lot of garbage. We don't ever see any trucks leaving with that garbage. Who takes out the garbage? It's a simple question that nobody had an answer to, and they all paused at the table and then instantly went right back to, yeah, my uncle is CIA, so there's these aliens that are here. And they just went right back to it. And it's a pitfall in human thinking. And I do have an immense problem on a personal, this is just on a personal note, with somebody that takes something that didn't need study. We have logic. We have basic logic. For you to go into the lab, okay, on Stanford University, who's funding it? What a bunch of crap. You got 50 guys in a focus group, and they're all going to run 3 miles a day every day. But then you have another 50 guys, and they're not going to run at all. And over the course of 30 days, you're going to check, and then fill in the blank. You're going to check what their weight, their cholesterol, how many calories they burn, who looks better. I mean, whatever it is you want to do, you would logically know. And these are the things that Huberman goes and does. Oh, you got this thing called dopamine. If you jump in an ice bath, it really... You had to draw levels and do reports and blood. You had to go into a lab for that? How about this? Go jump in a cold river and then just let us know how you feel and go ask 5, 6, 7 other people if they felt the same thing. I mean, not for nothing. It gets a little bit annoying to hear that this stuff is science, but allow me to get to the point. Because Bell is giving me a hard time for having a problem with the fact that Huberman is telling people through fasting, through a cold plunge with an ice bath, and through a sauna, they can quadruple their testosterone. They can quadruple their growth hormone. He's laughing that I would say, but from the vein that I'm giving Huberman a hard time by making crazy claims and associated to them. Point being, they're attempting to say that I am misquoting Huberman. Do you have any idea the level of neglect and incompetence? The smartest guy you know, me, right? I go around and I say I'm impressed with the genius Jacques Vallée. You go around and tell people that you're impressed with Chael Sonnen. True? Yes, it's true. Could you imagine the incompetence that I would have to misquote him on something like that? Now, I will fully admit I can't remember off the top of my head which is which. It was between fasting, ice baths, and saunas. Between those three, one of them quadruples growth hormone, which is it's a blatant lie. One of them quadruples testosterone, which is a blatant no. And when you make a statement that ridiculous, and I tie it back to logic, you think that you're going to cut down on your group because you just put up some pretty good barriers there. Who wants to fast? Well, you meet a disciplined guy. You meet a guy that will do it. Now, is that guy going to get a sauna? Where's he even going to get a sauna? He didn't have one at home. His neighbor sure as hell didn't have one. Is he going to sign up at a health club that happens to have a sauna? If he does, is he going to be able to temperature control it? Because Huberman claims it's got to be at 150 degrees. I made that number up. My point is, you start to think people aren't going to be checking this. Where am I going to get the ice bath? Yeah, I could take a great big trash can and I could go to the store and dump some ice and use a garden hose, but who's actually going to do it? So now you've narrowed yourself. You got pretty low, right? You got pretty low. Apparently you need a lab at This is logic. And you know what? I grew up with it. I do admit it's very rare you're going to meet somebody that fasts. I do admit it's very rare you're going to meet somebody that goes and gets to the sauna 150 degrees or even has access to one. And I fully admit that an ice bath sucks. And you're not going to meet a whole lot of people that did it. I did all three since I was 9 years old, but I was surrounded by people every year for 36 years that did all three of those things. So when you attempt to make a claim that it's going to quadruple your growth hormone, and that really is a frustration within the fitness model. And Mark didn't sell out. He almost did. He considered it, but he didn't do it, and I respected it in him. When I said stop talking about these supplements, stop. They're garbage. None of them. Nothing on the market you're going to take, and then look like the guy in the zero. None of them will up your growth hormone. None of them will up your testosterone. Mark saw my point and he co-signed it, but he didn't want to. He didn't want to. And so he was able to go as far as to say, well, in comparison, any supplement on the market in comparison to having actual testosterone. No, there's nothing that can touch that. But there are supplements that can show to raise your testosterone. I dispute that to the high heavens, and it's a silly argument. That's a straw man's fallacy. That is not the hill that I want to die on. But when you have things that are completely immeasurable, shame on you for saying that you have science, and shame on you for trying to sell it to people. If you have a testosterone baseline of 200, and you can go through a process, oh man, your stomach's gonna be sick. You gotta drink so many of these things, you gotta take so many of these. Oh, you gotta do it. You gotta do it at certain times. It costs you $600 a month for this regimen. You can take it in some labs from 200 to 205. That fight will do nothing. Zero, nothing. Testosterone does a whole bunch of things. It clears up your skin. It can make your hair grow faster. It can make your bones stronger, some say. It can help with fat loss. It can put on strength. It has all sorts of things that it can do, all the way down to shrinking your testes and male pattern baldness if you really want to go there. Going from 200 to 205 will do none of those things, and I do mean none. It will not make your skin clear. It will not make your nails grow faster. It will not give you acne. It won't shake your neck. It will do nothing. And just because you could grab a lab, of which can be affected in 20 different ways. 20 different ways. If anybody needs FDA approval on testosterone and their levels aren't low enough to get cleared through the government, you know what I have them do? Go do a hard workout. You got guys out there that are claiming you can up your testosterone through a heavy lift. I've read all the science on this, believe me. You don't want to go back and forth because you heard from somebody that you respect, because that's all you've got. You don't have a lab, you don't have proof, you don't have anybody that's visible in any fashion. You have heard from someone that you respect that extremely heavy lift, I'm talking like 3 reps at an absolute max, can up your testosterone. Shut up with all this. Please, honestly, shut up. If you took it from 2 to 205, shut up. I adversely, if I want to tank somebody's testosterone before they go and do a test, so they can be in possession of a Class C substance that by law would be treated the same as cocaine if you don't have a script for it, I have them go do a hard workout. And it will sink their testosterone. So I only bring this to you because Mark, on one hand, made it as though Huberman didn't say this. I was stunned. The incompetence that I would have to have, okay? And then secondly, almost as though there would be some kind of scientific proof. There is nothing on the market. You can tell you, stop, please stop. I'm telling you the truth. And those guys that say that they take it or they're selling it to you, if they're honest guys, they will tell you that they also shoot test or they also shoot growth. Otherwise, they're not being honest with you. It's as simple as that. I really don't care if you believe it. I'm clearing my own conscience by telling you. If you want to go spend $600 a month on stuff, go ahead. Believe me, I bought into several of those companies. You keep lying to my I'm good with it. But I have a conscience and I'm going to level with you. Here's the point that I'm getting at. It took me 14 minutes, but let's get here, okay? Mark Bell says this. I like him. He got a big old meathead on there with him. He's got a dude in the corner that they don't want to hear from, but he hasn't figured it out yet, so he keeps on taking up airtime. Truthfully, you ever see guys like that on the podcast? They're over here. Somehow they got a microphone and a headset, but when the camera finally finds them and they're not on the one shot or the 2 box, they're even offset. They clearly are not welcomed on the show, but somehow they got a microphone and a headset, right? Like, at any rate, I got to hear from this guy that Huberman didn't say it. Pissed me off. Not only did he say it, he wrote it down. Not only did he write it down, it's in his caption. And I know some people go, well, that's clickbait. That's done by an editor. You can hire an editor to speak for you, just like you can hire a lawyer or a manager. You're responsible for the stupid stuff they say. If you put in writing 4 times your test, which is all over on YouTube related to Huberman, what's Mark Bell doing laughing at Chael? So now, not only do I got to give a bump to the guy with the lab, he's got a lab, I got a studio, just shut up. But now I got to go deal with Bell. So what am I going to do? Want to know what I'm doing? I'm going to go and search this, and I'm going to go back, and I'm going to get my facts together. I'm going to get my data together. I told you right at the beginning, I couldn't remember if it was 4 times growth or it was 4 times test. I told you right at the beginning, I couldn't remember if it was the fasting, the cold plunge, or the sauna. Want to know what happened when I went back to research that? I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it. I spent a meaningful amount of time. I am extremely confident it's there. Derek in his life has never walked away from anything that I've called him out on. Never. 0 times. I called him out on this. I said it even disappointed me. He knew Huberman was giving him garbage, and he accepted it because the guy was nice to him. He accepted it. That isn't evidence by me. It's a reason I believe it. That's not evidence. That's not proof. Just because Derek didn't respond, that's not proof. I need to have it. The video's out there. I saw the video. I've seen the video before. I spoke to the video. I can't find the video. So, I'm going to take the weekend. I'm going to find this. Find out if it was 4 times growth, if it was 4 times test. We'll find out if it was the fasting, the ice bath, or something. Whatever snake oil he's selling from his lab on Stanford, I'm going to find it. Or I'm going to owe him one hell of an apology.